What it do, YouTube? MJM for Life here, back again, bringing you some more OU battles on Showdown with the team I used last video. So, going up against a pretty unstandard team here. So he leads off with Hexers. I'm gonna lead off with Archeops, as I always do. I was thinking about taunting him, but then I figured if he Dragon Dances, I really don't care because I have Focus Sash anyway. And I forgot actually that my Lucario doesn't have Extreme Speed, because I was initially thinking I'll just Extreme Speed it anyway, but then I was like, oh wait, I don't have Extreme Speed, but I still have a Scarf Celebi, so it's still not a big problem if as long as he gets only one Dragon Dance up. But anyway, so he actually decides to switch onto his Bronzong on my Stealth Rocks. Then I taunt his Bronzong as he goes. Then he ended up Gyro Balling me, and I missed the Stone Edge, which really didn't matter. Then I endeavored it, and then I died, and then I switched into Landorus. I U-turned out, and he brought in his Zapdos. So I'm going to go into my Celebi, go for a Hidden Power Ice, and it doesn't do that much. I see the substitute, so I'm thinking maybe Sub Roost, and that turns out to be the case, as I'm just going to keep on Hidden Power Icing away, hoping to get a crit, because I mean he's not really gaining much. I mean, I guess he's wearing down my Hidden Power Ices, but I mean he'll run out of Roosts about the same time that I'll run out of Hidden Power Ices, so he decides that this is a losing battle, so he's going to switch out to his Bronzong, his Death Fodder. Now he's going to go out to his Melodic. I'm going to go into my Empoleon. He Dragon Tails me away back into Celebi. I know he's probably not going to want to stay in and take a Leaf Storm, so I'm going to U-turn out, and he does go into his Heracross, so I'm going to U-turn out back into Landorus, get the Intimidate on that Heracross, and then just U-turn again, because I know he's probably not going to stay in. Goes out into his Hippowdon, so that's a free switch into Empoleon. So now I'm just gonna go out to my Empoleon now, go for the Hydro Pump. If he switches into Melodic, that's fine, because Melodic can't really do much to my Empoleon. I can just Hidden Power Grass for some decent damage. So now he's going to Dragon Tail me out into Lucario. That's perfect, because nothing on his team wants to take a High Jump Kick at this point, so I'm going to High Jump Kick the incoming Hippowdon, then finish it off with a Hidden Power Ice. So Hippowdon wasn't really a threat to my team. I have a lot of offensive guys, so his defensive team really can't stand up to it. So he goes on to his Heracross now, predicts my Landorus and goes for the Stone Edge, but it doesn't matter because of the Intimidate ability. So I'm just going to U-turn out again. He goes out into the Zapdos, and this time I believe I go out into my Empoleon. I was thinking about going to Garchomp, but then it might have Hidden Power Ice, so just in case it does, I know I can live one Thunderbolt, since this is obviously a more defensive Zapdos, and I can just finish it off with an Ice Beam and just not deal with that annoying threat anymore. Well, it's not really a threat, it's just annoying. So now he's going to go on to his Haxorus, and he's going to get ballsy and try to Dragon Dance in my face. That was not the best play, and he dies to an Ice Beam, then he just decides to give up. So that was that battle, and now this next battle was a really good battle. This was a really good battle. So I'm going to lead off with Archeops again, and I was thinking about what he might lead off with. I kind of thought maybe Mamoswine, because it was the only thing on his team that got Stealth Rocks, except I forgot about the Infernape getting Stealth Rocks. The fact that he stayed in against an Archeops probably means that it was Focus Sashed. So I go get off a Stone Edge, get off some damage, but then I missed the Stone Edge, which was really, really annoying. But it didn't really matter, because I would have just killed the Infernape, then he probably would have went into Mamoswine and just Ice Sharded me. So, I mean, the results would have been the same anyway. So now I'm thinking about what I want to go into. I think I ultimately decide on going into Landorus and then just U-turning, because that's typically what I do when the opponent's Pokemon is at low HP. So I think I do just U-turn out. I was thinking about Earthquaking, but then he did have the Gyarados. I didn't really think Stone Edging would be that useful, especially since he has Garchomp and Lucario. So I figured I was thinking that U-turn may not kill, because it does double resist it, but then again it's Infernape, and against Landorus. Landorus has 145 base attack, and Infernape's defenses are pretty paper thin, so I thought a U-turn. I just ultimately decided that U-turn would be the best move. So this person, Asta, took a while to think about their play, but ultimately decides on staying in with the Infernape, dying to a U-turn, and then I went on to Celebi, because Celebi was a good matchup against all of his pokes, pretty much. So he goes out into Mamoswine, I guess expecting me to be the defensive Celebi, but nope, this is Choice Scarf Celebi, and that usually happens a lot. People don't go for the Ice Shard expecting me to be more defensive. So I just straight up take out that Mamoswine, so I don't have to deal with that thing Ice Sharding my Ice Weak Pokemon. So now he goes on to his Garchomp. Gonna go for the Landorus and get that Intimidate off on it. Kind of expected it to be Swords Dance, so now I'm gonna go for the Earthquake. Get some big damage on that thing before it kills me with Outrage. And then I go into Empoleon, because I feel like it's the safest switch, because it does resist the Outrage, and it does have max HP, although Outrage still does a shit ton of damage. But I do take it, not nicely, but I take it and finish off the Garchomp. So now it goes on to his Gyarados, attacking the setup, but I know Ice Beam will do a good chunk to the Gyarados. Then he Earthquakes me, it shows that he's Life Orb with Moxie, and seeing how much damage the Ice Beam did, I know that a Psychic from Celebi will finish it off, so I can kill it with the Psychic, and then not allow his Lucario to set up on me. Basically, got a crit. That crit didn't matter, judging based on the damage that the Ice Beam from Unstab Ice Beam from Empoleon did. But now I'm kind of in a bad situation here because I have to go into Lucario, basically sack that, and then go back into Celebi. Now I really wanted to U-turn, expecting him to go out into his own Lucario, but just in case he stayed in and Ice Beamed, I didn't really want to do that, so I kind of was forced to go for the Leaf Storm. And as he goes into his Lucario here, and now I go into my Garchomp and die to an Ice Punch. Didn't really expect that Ice Punch. I was hoping for him to be the standard Swords Dance, Close Combat, Extreme Speed, Crunch one. But nope, he's not. He has Ice Punch, which makes sense. So I have to go for Psychic. Hope it does enough to force a tie, but it doesn't. And I end up losing that one. If only I had Earth Power or Hidden Power Fire, wouldn't have been a problem, but I don't. So anyway, that was a good battle. So this is, I believe, the last battle. And it's against some pretty decent team. I mean, he's got a Honchkrow and a Suicune, which are underused, but they're good Pokemon, so it's okay. So he's gonna go out into his Keldeo, initially show that he's Scarf, because Archeops does normally outspeed it, and mine's Jolly. So there's no way that a Keldeo would outspeed me unless it was Scarf. So I'm going to go into my Empoleon and take that. And now, expecting the Suicune to come in, I'm going to double switch into my Archeops so that I can get the Endeavor off on it. Now this person, I don't know if it's a man or a woman, Lemon Boy, took a while to think about his play, and he switches in a Heatran onto a Empoleon. So I knew that was kind of fishy, so I thought he probably wants to go for a Stealth Rock, so that's why I went for the taunt there. I guess he switched out, obviously expecting the Earthquake, as that's why he went into his Honchkrow, but now I'm going to go to the Landorus, get the Intimidate off, expecting the Sucker Punch, and it does happen, so now I can just get a free U-turn off. If he decides to Sucker Punch, it won't do too much. And I can just get some momentum, keep my momentum going. So he switches in Heatran into a Landorus. So this person's really desperately trying to get the rocks up, it seems like, because Landorus, Heatran and Infernape are the only Pokemon that get Stealth Rocks on his team, and I'm pretty sure that his Heatran is a Stealth Rocker. So now I'm going to go to Lucario. Nothing on his team wants to take a high jump kick, so he ends up going to a Suicune, and I forgot again to make this thing adamant. So if I was adamant, that would have been a clean 2-hit KO on the Suicune after Stealth Rocks, but unfortunately I didn't. So it does survive a 1%, 8% after the leftovers, but thankfully he did not burn me with the Scald, although it really wouldn't have mattered, honestly. I still would have been able to KO it. So I decided to go for Crunch, not risking the miss, obviously, with the high jump kick. So now he goes on to his Infernape, and now that Suicune is down, I don't really need to save my Archeops, because I was initially saving it to make that Suicune a lot easier to deal with by just endeavoring it and then just getting a quick kill with any of my other Pokemon. So I'm going to decide to go switch into my Archeops' Death Fodder to see what type of Infernape he's running. Looks like he's running a Life Orbed Infernape with Mach Punch, Close Combat, Fire move, and then some other move most likely. So I'm going to go for U-turn here. I was half predicting him to actually stay in, and I just wanted to see what his other moves were. So I decided to go into Landorus, U-turn out, then go into Garchomp, which is probably my most useless Pokemon. He ends up going for Overheat, which either tells me that he predicted my U-turn and decided to hit most of my Pokemon for big damage, or he just doesn't have Hidden Power Ice. So I'm going to test that theory right now by going for the Draco Meteor. Nothing on his team really wants to switch it in. I doubt he was switching his Heatran onto a Garchomp, even though he has been making some questionable Heatran switch-ins. But he ends up switching his Keldeo, and that just gets demolished by Choice Specs Draco Meteor. So now I go into Empoleon, my Latios counter, as he switches in his Latios to take that Draco Meteor. Not as well as I would have liked, but it's still take it well enough to where he has to switch out. Now I'm going to Hydro Pump, expecting that Heatran to come in. Don't know why he keeps switching it in onto an Empoleon, but it gets absolutely destroyed by a Hydro Pump. So now he's thinking about what he wants to go into. He took a long while to think about his next move, so he goes into his Honchkrow. Now the only reason why he would go into Honchkrow is to superpower me, so I see right through that strategy. So I'm going to switch into my Landorus, get the Intimidate off, and take that superpower, and he reveals here that he's Life Orb, and at this point, I believe that Lemon Boy decides to run or forfeit. In this case, he or she is really in a tough position at this current moment, because I can just U-turn out. There's nothing really Honchkrow can do to Landorus unless he gets a crit. So that's going to do it for this video. Viewers, I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, and all that other good stuff. And until next time, MJM for life out of here. Deuces.